Hi everyone! Today I want to talk about creativity. Some people think creativity is something that you either have or you don't, so it's not worth talking about. There's no way to teach it, but that's not necessarily true. Creativity can be practiced and should be practiced regularly, and it should also be encouraged. So I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can intentionally raise creative kids. I'm Allison Kane. I'm an editor at Highlights Magazine, where it's one of our goals to be a creative outlet and an inspiration for creativity for kids. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to raise creative kids. The first way to raise creative kids is to ask questions that don't have right answers. Now, these don't have to be too philosophical. They're just questions that are meant to get your kids thinking creatively and using their imaginations. So maybe you're watching an animal-related TV show and you ask your kid, do you think we've discovered all of the animals that exist? What might an animal that we haven't even seen yet look like? What would it be like? Or maybe you're eating ice cream and you just ask your kid, what would your dream ice cream flavor be? And those are actually both questions that we've asked of our readers and had them send in their responses. And we've gotten some pretty wildly creative responses. One of my favorite creatures that a kid made up and sent in to us was called the Bagel Beast. The Bagel Beast, apparently, is very rare, but if you see it, it brings you good luck. And a memorable ice cream sundae submission that we got included bacon, marshmallow, and hot pepper ice cream with pickle and honey mustard syrup, all in a cone made of pizza. It could be delicious or disgusting, but I would definitely try it. So other topics we've had kids write to us about include, who is your hero? What would you invent? What would your dream treehouse look like? We've done What's Hiding in the Cave, where we show an image of a creature sticking out of a cave, and we have kids draw the rest of the creature and send it in to us, and those are always fun. We've done What Kind of Movie Would You Like to Make? All kinds of prompts, and these are just meant to get kids thinking creatively outside the box, and they're good topics for practicing creativity. Another place in the magazine where we ask these kinds of open-ended questions is the brain play section. And these questions aren't meant to get kids writing or drawing or creating anything. They're just asking kids to think outside the box. So, for example, coming up in February, we're asking questions like, what is it like where you live? What are some things you can dig into? Why don't animals wear glasses? Questions like that are just asking kids to stretch their brains a little bit. And you can ask these kinds of questions when you're waiting in line or driving in the car or just talking about something relevant. The second way to raise creative kids is to make time to be mindful. Try to set aside a specific time every night for mindfulness, which is just being fully present and aware of your thoughts and emotions. For some people, that's meditation, but for you, it could also just be turning off all the screens in your house and bringing out some craft materials. The crafts and highlights are actually written with minimal instructions because we're hoping that kids will use our craft ideas but put their own creative spin on it with their great imaginations. So you can encourage your kids to go a little off book. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're having trouble getting the kids to put the tablet away, maybe download a drawing app. And you can chat while you're doing all these activities, maybe even put on some classical music, but just try to set aside time for kids to slow down and be alone with their creative thoughts. And don't try to govern this time of mindfulness too much. Let your kids roll with the activities that they're interested in. For example, maybe your kid just loves taking things apart. I recently had the opportunity to talk to an aerospace engineer who told me that her favorite pastime is taking broken things apart. So things like broken clocks or watches or hard drives. She just likes to take them apart and see all the pieces. So creativity means different things to different kids. You just have to be open to the possibilities. The third way to raise creative kids is to introduce kids to other creative people. So as you might know, in every issue of Highlights, we publish a handful of kids' poetry and drawings. And we do this not just because we know that kids love seeing their own work in the magazine, but also so that kids who haven't submitted their work might see what their peers are doing and feel inspired to try themselves. So these pages aren't a collection of what we feel are the very best things we received that month. It's more like a gallery of the variety of submissions we get. So we try to vary the type of poetry, the art mediums, the topics, the themes. We even vary the ages and the states of the kids who have submitted to us. And we do this so that, for example, a kid who's 9 in Nebraska might see the work of another 9-year-old in Nebraska and think, hey, maybe I could do something like that. So we're hoping that by publishing the creative works of kids, we can have kids get inspired by each other. But inspiration can also come from other artists and makers. You can share your favorite authors from your youth with your kids, or go to a local art exhibit, or watch YouTube videos of inventors and creators, and celebrate creativity wherever you see it. So those are 3 tips for raising creative kids. Ask questions that don't have answers, set aside time to be mindful, and introduce your kids to other creative people. And if your kids have creative work that they want to send to highlights, please encourage them to do so. I've said before that opening mail is the best part of this job, and even if we can't publish what they've sent to us, they will get a letter from us because we respond to every single letter that we receive. So they can send their work to 803 Church Street, Honesdale, Pennsylvania, 18431, and we will love to see it.